If you grew up in a small town, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every little place has its stories, its legends, its mysteries that nobody can quite explain. The kind of tales that get whispered about at the diner, passed around at high school football games, and told late at night when the wind's howling outside. I'm talking about real events that happen to real people, things that'll make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. So pull up a chair and get comfortable, because I'm about to take you through some of the most chilling true stories from small-town America. And I guarantee, if you lived in a place like this, these stories are going to hit different small towns. They're different than cities in ways most folks don't understand until they've lived in both. In a city, you're anonymous, you're one face in a crowd of thousands. But in a small town, everybody knows everybody. Your business is everyone's business. Your secrets don't stay secret for long, and when something strange happens, the whole town knows about it by morning. That's what makes these stories so powerful. These ain't urban legends passed around by strangers on the internet. These are events that happened to your neighbor, your teacher, the lady who runs the post office. People you see every day, people who got no reason to lie. Let me start with something that happened in my town back in 1978. There was a girl named Emily Patterson, 17 years old, smart as a whip, had a scholarship to college lined up. One October evening, she left the town library where she'd been studying, told the librarian she'd see her tomorrow, and started the 6-block walk home. She never made it. Emily disappeared between the library and her house, a route she'd walked 1,000 times, in a town where everybody knew her face. The whole community searched for weeks. Police brought in dogs. Volunteers combed every inch of the surrounding countryside. They dredged the lake. Nothing, no sign of her, no clues, no witnesses. Emily Patterson vanished into thin air on a well-lit street in a town of 1,200 people, where nothing ever happened. Now here's where it gets strange. About 3 months later, Emily's best friend Sarah started having dreams. Vivid, specific dreams where Emily was trying to tell her something. In the dreams, Sarah could see a specific location, an old abandoned grain silo on the outskirts of town. She could see details, rusty metal, broken windows, graffiti on the walls. The dreams were so persistent and so clear that Sarah finally told her parents, who told the police. They'd already searched that area, but they went back. And there, hidden in an underground storage area beneath that silo that they'd missed in the first search, they found Emily's backpack and one of her shoes. But they never found Emily. To this day, 30-some years later, nobody knows what happened to that girl. Her parents still live in that house, still hoping for answers that'll probably never come. That story, it changed our town. Parents got more protective, kids weren't allowed to walk alone anymore, and that silo became a place nobody would go near. But more than that, it shattered the illusion of safety. We all thought nothing bad could happen here, that small towns were immune to the darkness that plagued big cities. We were wrong. Evil don't care how big your town is. There's another story, this one from a town about 40 miles from where I grew up. Place called Millbrook, population maybe 800 people. They had an old hotel in the center of town, built in 1892. Beautiful Victorian architecture, 3 stories tall. By the 1960s, it wasn't a hotel anymore, had been converted into apartments. Several families lived there, including the Hendersons, a young couple with 2 small children. The Hendersons lived on the 3rd floor, and from the day they moved in, strange things started happening. Doors would open and close by themselves. They'd hear footsteps in the hallway when nobody was there, and their kids, ages 3 and 5, would talk about the sad lady who visited their room at night. Now listen, if you're sitting there getting goosebumps, good. That means you understand. Before I go any further, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button right now, because I got more stories like this, and you're gonna want to hear them. Give this video a like if these small town tales are resonating with you. And please drop a comment telling me about the legends or strange events from your town. Every small town's got them, and I want to hear yours. Your stories matter just as much as the ones I'm telling. Now let's get back to the Hendersons and that old hotel. Mrs. Henderson, she didn't believe in ghosts or supernatural stuff. She was a practical woman, a school teacher, rational and level-headed. But after 6 months in that apartment, she couldn't deny what was happening. She'd wake up in the middle of the night to find a woman standing at the foot of her bed, clear as day. Wearing an old-fashioned dress from the 1890s, the figure would just stand there, looking sad, then fade away. Her husband saw it too, and so did several visitors. The children weren't scared of the sad lady, said she was nice, said she was looking for her baby. Mrs. Henderson started researching the history of the building, and she found something that made her blood run cold. In 1894, a woman named Catherine Morrison had jumped from the third-floor window, the same room that was now the Henderson children's bedroom. Catherine had lost her infant son to illness and had been overcome with grief. The newspaper articles from the time described her as inconsolable, said she'd been seen wandering the hotel halls at night calling for her baby. Mrs. Henderson showed me the articles herself. I saw them with my own eyes. The woman in the photograph looked exactly like the figure they'd been seeing. The Hendersons moved out shortly after that. They couldn't take it anymore, the constant feeling of being watched, the sadness that seemed to permeate the apartment, the way their children would have conversations with someone who wasn't there. Other families moved into that apartment over the years, and every single one of them reported similar experiences. Eventually, the building was condemned for structural issues and torn down in 1995. But folks say even now, if you walk past where that hotel used to stand late at night, sometimes you can hear a woman crying, calling for her lost child. These stories, they're part of the fabric of small-town life. Every community has them, passed down through generations, added to with each new unexplained event. In the South, you got your stories of Civil War soldiers still walking the battlefields. In New England, you got witch trials and old colonial hauntings. Out west, you got ghost towns and mining disasters and Native American legends. Every region has its own flavor of mystery, but the feeling is the same. That chill that runs down your spine, that sense that the world is stranger than we admit. I knew an old man, Charlie Briggs was his name, lived to be 94 years old. Charlie was about as skeptical as they come, didn't believe in nothing he couldn't see and touch. He'd laugh at ghost stories, call them nonsense for superstitious fools. Well, Charlie's opinion changed one night when he was 72 years old. He was driving home from his daughter's house, about a 30-minute drive on empty country roads. It was around 11 at night, clear sky, full moon. He came around a bend and saw a figure standing in the middle of the road. Charlie slammed on his brakes, came to a stop maybe 20 feet from this figure. He told me later with tears in his eyes that it was his wife, Margaret. She died 8 years earlier, but there she was, clear as day, wearing the blue dress he'd buried her in. She was smiling at him, that smile he'd loved for 50 years of marriage. Charlie sat there frozen, staring at her. She didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there smiling. Then she pointed to the right side of the road, a very deliberate gesture, and vanished. Just disappeared like she'd never been there. Charlie sat there for a long moment, shaking, questioning his sanity. Then he slowly drove forward, and when he got to where she'd been pointing, he saw it. A massive tree had fallen across the road, completely blocking it. If Charlie had been going his usual speed, if he hadn't stopped, he'd have hit that tree at 60 miles an hour. Margaret, or whatever he saw that night, had saved his life. Charlie wasn't the same after that. The skepticism was gone, replaced by a quiet certainty that there was more to existence than he'd ever believed. He'd tell that story to anyone who'd listen, and he'd cry every time. Said he didn't know if it was really Margaret or something else, but whatever it was, he was grateful. Charlie died about 5 years ago, and I was at his funeral. His daughter told me that in his last days, he kept saying Margaret was waiting for him, that he could see her standing at the foot of his bed, ready to take him home. Now, not every small-town mystery is supernatural. Some are just plain old unsolved crimes that haunt a community. There was a bank robbery in a town near here back in 1952. 3 men walked into the First National Bank on a Tuesday morning, held up the tellers, took about $50,000 and drove away. Nobody ever caught them. But here's the thing, this wasn't a big city where criminals could disappear into the crowd. This was a town of 600 people. Everybody knew every car, knew every face. Those 3 men had to come from somewhere, had to have planned it, had to have left tracks, but they vanished. The money never turned up, nobody ever got caught, and to this day it remains an open case. Old-timers still speculate about it, still have theories about who it might have been. Some folks think it was outsiders who got lucky. Others think it was locals who kept their mouths shut. Either way, it's become part of the town's identity. This one moment when something exciting and terrible happened and was never resolved. Let me tell you about the superstitions and traditions that exist in small towns, because they're real and they matter to folks. In my town, there's a bridge on the east side called Crybaby Bridge. The legend goes that back in the 1920s, a young woman threw her baby off that bridge in a moment of desperation. Now, supposedly, if you go to that bridge at midnight and turn off your car, you'll hear a baby crying. I know, it sounds like typical teenager spooky story stuff. But here's the thing, there really was a tragedy at that bridge. I looked up the old newspaper records. In 1923, a young woman named Ruth Palmer drowned in the creek below that bridge. Her infant son was found on the bank unharmed but crying. The official report said she slipped and fell, but there were whispers that it wasn't an accident. Ruth was unmarried, which was scandalous back then, and she was struggling to provide for her child. Whether the legend is true or not, that bridge has a reputation. Teenagers dare each other to go there at night. Couples avoid it, and more than a few people have reported hearing sounds they couldn't explain. My own son, when he was 17, went there with some friends. He came home pale and shaken, said they all heard it clear as day, a baby crying from somewhere below the bridge. He's 40 years old now, and he still won't drive over that bridge at night. Says it gives him a bad feeling he can't shake. Every small town's got places like that. The old cemetery where strange lights are seen. The abandoned house that nobody will go near. The stretch of road where multiple fatal accidents have happened. These places collect stories, accumulate fear and respect, become landmarks of the mysterious. And you know what? People take them seriously. It ain't superstition when you've experienced something yourself. When you've felt that wrongness in your gut. When you've seen something you can't explain. Picture this, it's 2 a.m. in a small town. The streets are empty, the stores are all closed. There's no traffic, no people, nothing. Just streetlights casting pools of yellow light into darkness and silence so thick you can hear your own heartbeat. That's when small towns show their true nature. During the day, they're friendly and familiar, everybody waving and saying hello. But at night they transform. The shadows get deeper, the familiar becomes strange, and you become very aware of how alone you are. In the city, there's always someone around, always lights and noise. In a small town at night, it's just you and whatever else is out there. I remember walking home late one night when I was a teenager. Must have been around 1968. I'd been at a friend's house and lost track of time. It was about a mile walk home through the quiet streets of our town. About halfway there, I got the strongest feeling I was being followed. I kept turning around, but I couldn't see nobody. The feeling got stronger and stronger until I was practically running. When I got home, I looked back down the street one more time, and I swear I saw a shadow move, something tall and dark that disappeared between 2 houses. My mama asked why I was breathing so hard, and I just said I'd been running for exercise. I didn't tell her what happened because I didn't want her to worry. But I never walked home alone at night again. That feeling, that primal fear of being stalked, of being watched by something you can't see, that's part of the small town night experience. You can rationalize it away during the day, tell yourself it was just your imagination. But when you're out there alone in the dark, rational thought goes out the window. Your instincts take over, the ancient part of your brain that knows when something ain't right. Now let me tell you about the contrast between believers and skeptics, because that's a real thing in small towns. You got your believers, folks who accept that there are things we can't explain, who trust their experiences and their instincts. Then you got your skeptics, folks who need scientific proof, who explain away every strange occurrence with rational explanations. Both groups exist in every small town, and sometimes they clash. The believers get frustrated when skeptics dismiss their experiences, and the skeptics get frustrated when believers attribute everything to supernatural causes. But here's what I've noticed. The longer people live in a small town, the more experiences they accumulate, the more their skepticism erodes. I've seen hardened skeptics become believers after experiencing something they couldn't explain. My friend Tom was one of those skeptics. He was a science teacher, believed in evidence and rational thought, rolled his eyes at ghost stories. Then he bought an old farmhouse on the edge of town, a fixer-upper he got for a great price. He should have wondered why it was so cheap, but he didn't. Tom moved in and started renovations. From day one, his tools would go missing and show up in strange places. He'd leave a hammer on the counter, come back and it'd be in the basement. He'd set down a measuring tape, turn around, and it'd be gone. He blamed his own forgetfulness at first, then things escalated. He'd hear footsteps upstairs when he was working downstairs. Doors would slam shut with no breeze to cause it. One night he woke up to someone shaking his bed, vigorous enough to wake him from a deep sleep. He turned on the light, and of course, nobody was there. Tom lasted 2 months in that house before he moved out. He sold it at a loss and never talked about what happened. But one night, after a few beers, he admitted to me that his whole worldview had been shaken. He said he still didn't know what he believed, but he knew he'd experienced something that couldn't be explained by science as he understood it. That's the thing about small-town mysteries. They force you to confront the limits of your understanding, to admit that maybe, just maybe, there's more to reality than what we can measure and prove. Different regions have their own legendary stories, and it's fascinating to see the similarities and differences. Down in Louisiana, you got your voodoo legends, your swamp mysteries, tales of things that lurk in the bayou. Up in New England, it's all about old houses, Revolutionary War ghosts, and dark colonial history. In the Midwest, you got your tales of creatures in the cornfields, strange lights over prairies, and small-town serial killers. Out west, there's ghost towns, mining disasters, and legends from the frontier days. Every region has its flavor, shaped by its history and geography, but the core is the same. People experiencing things they can't explain, stories that get passed down, mysteries that never get solved. I'm going to tell you about something that happened in a small Kansas town, a place called Hiram, population about 400. Back in 1985, over a period of 3 months, every single dog in town disappeared. Not just a few, every single one. People would let their dogs out at night, and by morning they'd be gone. No bodies were ever found, no evidence of what happened to them. The whole town was on edge, people afraid to let their pets outside, parents keeping kids close. Then just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. And over the next few weeks, some of the dogs started coming back. They'd just show up, standing on their owners' porches like they'd never been gone. But they were different. Quieter, wouldn't bark, seemed nervous and skittish. About half the dogs came back. The rest were never seen again. To this day, nobody knows what happened. Some folks thought it was dog fighters stealing animals. Others thought it was something stranger. The mystery was never solved, and it left a scar on that community that's still there. Let me paint you a picture of what one of these events looks like when it happens. Imagine it's a Tuesday afternoon, nothing special, just a regular day in a small town. Mrs. Johnson's working at the grocery store. Mr. Peterson's cutting hair in his barber shop. Kids are at school. Then something happens, something that don't make sense. Let's say someone sees a figure in old-fashioned clothes walking down Main Street, clear as day, then disappearing into thin air. Within an hour, everyone knows about it. By evening, half the town has driven by the spot where it happened. By the next day, theories are flying, everyone's got an opinion, and the story has already started to evolve and change. That's how legends are born in small towns, from real events that get talked about, embellished, passed along. until they become part of the community's shared mythology. Hey folks, I know these stories are getting intense, and I appreciate you sticking with me. If you're enjoying this journey through small-town America's mysteries, I need you to do something. Hit that subscribe button, because I got plenty more of these stories to share. Smash that like button if this content is what you came for. And please leave me a comment. Tell me about your small town. Tell me about the legends, the mysteries, the unexplained events. Tell me about the places people avoid and the stories that get whispered about. Your town's stories are just as important as the ones I'm sharing, and I want to hear them. We're building a community here of folks who understand that small towns are filled with mystery and wonder. Now let me share something from my own life, something that still gives me chills when I think about it. When I was 19 years old, I was dating a girl named Jennifer from the next town over. One Saturday night, I was driving to pick her up for a date. It was about a 20-minute drive on a 2-lane highway, mostly farmland. I was about halfway there when my car started acting funny. The engine sputtered, the lights dimmed, and the radio went to static. I pulled over thinking maybe I had an electrical problem. The moment I stopped, everything went back to normal. Engine purred like a kitten, lights came back on, radio started playing music again. I sat there confused, and that's when I noticed it was dead silent outside. No birds, no wind, no insects, nothing. Just eerie, complete silence. I got out of the car to look around, and that's when I saw it. A light in the sky, hovering maybe 100 feet above the field to my left. It was bright white, pulsing slightly, and it made no sound at all. I stood there watching it, frozen, not sure what I was seeing. It hovered there for maybe 30 seconds, then shot straight up so fast I couldn't track it, and it was gone. The moment it disappeared, sound came back. Birds started singing again. I could hear the wind in the corn. Everything returned to normal. I got back in my car and drove to Jennifer's house, but I didn't tell her what happened. I didn't tell nobody for years because I thought they'd think I was crazy. But here's the thing, a few days later, I mentioned to someone at the diner that I'd seen something strange on Highway 47 before I could even describe what I saw. The waitress, a woman named Doris, said, "You saw the light, didn't you?" Turns out people had been seeing that light on that stretch of highway for decades. Dozens of reports, all describing the same thing. A bright light that hovers, makes cars act funny, creates that weird silence, then shoots up into the sky. Nobody knows what it is. Government says there's nothing to investigate. But the sightings continue to this day. That's what I love about small towns. When you experience something strange, you're not alone. Someone else has seen it too. Someone else knows what you're talking about. There's a shared understanding, a collective acknowledgement that our little corners of America hold mysteries that nobody can solve. And there's comfort in that, knowing you're not crazy, knowing others have experienced the same thing. Let me tell you about traditions that exist specifically because of these mysterious events. In my town, we have what we call the Remembrance Walk every October 31st. It started back in the 1950s after a series of tragic deaths, young people dying in accidents and unexplained circumstances. The community started walking through town at dusk on Halloween, carrying candles, remembering those who'd been lost. Over the years, it's become a tradition, a way of honoring the dead and acknowledging the thin line between life and death. But it's also more than that. It's become a time when people share stories, when the older generation passes down the legends to the younger ones, when the mysteries and tragedies of the past are remembered and respected. During that walk, you'll hear all the stories. The teenager who crashed on Dead Man's Curve in 1962, the little girl who wandered into the woods in 1978 and was never found, the farmer who saw something in his field that made him sell his land and move away. These stories are part of our identity, part of what makes our town unique. Every candle lit represents not just a person lost, but a story that continues to live in the community's memory. There's a house in my town, been empty for as long as I can remember, probably 70 years or more. It's not falling apart, doesn't look abandoned, just empty. The lawn gets mowed regularly, supposedly by a property management company hired by some distant relative, of the original owners. But nobody lives there. Nobody ever goes inside. The reason? Back in 1948, an entire family died in that house. Mother, father, 3 children, all found dead in their beds with no explanation. No signs of violence, no carbon monoxide, no poison, nothing. They just died, all 5 of them, on the same night. The investigation went nowhere. The coroner couldn't determine the cause of death. Eventually, it was written off as one of those medical mysteries, maybe some rare illness. But the town knew better. The town remembered that strange things had been happening in that house for months before the deaths. Lights turning on and off, sounds of crying. Neighbors reporting seeing shadows moving behind the curtains when nobody should have been awake. After the deaths, the house got a reputation. Nobody wanted to buy it, nobody wanted to live there. It changed hands a few times over the years, but nobody ever moved in. It just sits there, a monument to an unsolved tragedy, a reminder that sometimes there are no answers, only questions that haunt us across generations. Kids dare each other to go up to the porch, but nobody ever goes inside. There's a line you don't cross, a respect for the dead and the mysterious circumstances of their deaths that everyone understands. These places, these stories, they shape how a small town thinks and acts. They create unspoken rules and boundaries. Don't go to the old cemetery after dark. Don't swim in Miller's Pond. Don't take the shortcut through the woods on the north side of town. These aren't official rules, nobody wrote them down, but everybody knows them. They're passed down from parent to child, whispered among friends, learned through experience and community wisdom. And when someone breaks these rules, when some outsider or foolish teenager ignores the warnings and something happens, the town just nods. We tried to tell them, folks say. Should have listened. I want to share something that happened just a few years ago to show you these mysteries aren't just from the distant past. In 2019, a couple from California moved to a small town in Missouri, buying an old Victorian house they planned to renovate and turn into a bed and breakfast. They were young, ambitious, full of ideas, and they laughed at the locals who warned them about the house. They'd heard the stories about guests seeing apparitions, about doors locking themselves, about the room on the 3rd floor where nobody could sleep through the night. But they didn't believe in that stuff. They were going to renovate, modernize, and prove that all those stories were just small-town superstition. They lasted 6 months. 6 months of increasingly disturbing events that they documented on their blog before they stopped posting altogether. Objects moving, whispers in empty rooms, their dog refusing to go to certain parts of the house. The breaking point came when they both woke up one night to someone standing at the foot of their bed. Not a shadow, not a trick of the light, but a clear figure of a man in old-fashioned clothes staring at them. They left the next day, left most of their belongings, sold the house at a huge loss, and moved back to California. The blog entries are still online if you want to look them up. The terror in their words is real and palpable. The house is empty again now, back on the market, and nobody's buying. Because in a small town, reputation matters. History matters. And when a place has proven itself to be troubled, no amount of modern skepticism can change that. The small town folks, they know. They've seen what happens when people don't respect the mysteries, don't heed the warnings. They've learned through generations of experience that some things can't be explained away, can't be rationalized, can only be respected and avoided. What makes small towns so full of mystery? I've thought about this a lot over my years, and I think there are a few reasons. But the small towns have long memories. Stories get passed down, events get remembered, nothing is truly forgotten. In the city, people move in and out, buildings get torn down and rebuilt, the landscape changes constantly. But in a small town, things stay the same for generations. The same families, the same buildings, the same roads. History layers upon itself. And those layers create depth, create connection to the past that you don't find in more transient places. Second, small towns exist in closer proximity to nature, to the wild places, to the unknown. We're not insulated by concrete and crowds. The darkness is darker, the silence is deeper, and the boundary between civilization and wilderness is thin. That creates opportunity for mystery, for experiences that fall outside our normal understanding of reality. Third, and maybe most important, small town communities are close-knit. When someone experiences something strange, everyone hears about it. When multiple people experience similar things, patterns emerge. Stories are corroborated, witnesses are credible because you know them personally. It's harder to dismiss something when it's your neighbor telling you, someone you've known for 20 years, someone who's never lied to you before. That shared experience, that collective witnessing, it gives weight to the mysteries in a way that anonymous urban legends never can. I'm getting near the end here, but I got a few more things I need to say. These stories, they're not entertainment for us, not just something to pass the time. They're part of our heritage, our culture, our understanding of our place in the world. They connect us to the past, to the people who lived here before us, to the land itself. They remind us that we don't have all the answers, that the world is more complex and mysterious than our daily lives usually reveal. Every small town in America has these stories. Some are famous, known beyond their communities. Others are closely held secrets, shared only among locals. But they all serve the same purpose. They remind us of our mortality, our vulnerability, our small place in a vast and mysterious universe. They keep us humble, keep us aware, keep us connected to something larger than ourselves. I've shared a lot of stories today, some from my own experience, some from people I've known, some that are part of the public record of small-town America. Every single one of them is true as far as I know it. I've changed some names to protect privacy, and maybe I've forgotten some details over the years, but the core of these stories, the events themselves, they happened. People saw things they couldn't explain, experienced terror and wonder, and carried those memories with them for the rest of their lives. What I want you to take away from this is simple. If you've experienced something you can't explain, you're not alone. If you've seen something that defies rational explanation, you're not crazy. Small towns across America are filled with people who've had similar experiences, who carry similar memories, who understand what you're talking about when you speak of things that go bump in the night. There's a community of understanding, a shared acknowledgement that the world holds mysteries we may never solve. Before I let you go, I want to ask you one last time. These stories matter. The mysteries of small-town America deserve to be documented, shared, and preserved. If this video has meant something to you, if it's brought back memories or given you chills, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button so I know you want more content exploring the mysteries and legends of rural America. And most importantly, leave a comment. Share your story. Tell me about your town, your experience, the legends you grew up with. Every small town has its mysteries, and every story deserves to be told. Together, we can create a record of these experiences, a documentation of the strange and unexplained that exists in small-town America. Your voice matters, your experience matters, and I want to hear from you. As the sun sets on another day and the darkness creeps in, as the streets of small towns across America empty and the silence deepens, remember that you're part of something. You're part of a long tradition of people who've lived in these places, who've experienced these mysteries, who've carried these stories. The legends continue because they're based in truth, in real experiences that changed real lives. They continue because we pass them along, because we refuse to let them be forgotten, because somewhere deep down we know they matter. So tonight, when you're lying in bed and you hear a sound you can't identify, when you get that feeling that something's not quite right, when the darkness seems a little too thick and the silence a little too complete, remember these stories. Remember that in small towns across America, people are experiencing the same things, feeling the same fears, asking the same questions. You're not alone. You're part of a grand mystery that spans generations and geography, that connects us all through our shared humanity and our shared encounter with the unknown. Thank you for listening to an old man talk about the mysteries of small-town life. May these stories remind you that the world is stranger and more wonderful than we usually admit, and may you always approach the darkness with respect, caution, and a healthy sense of wonder. Sleep well if you can, and remember that tomorrow the sun will rise again, bringing light to chase away the shadows. But the mysteries will remain, waiting in the corners, lurking in the places we don't look too closely at, continuing the ancient dance between the known and unknown that makes small-town life so rich, so deep, and so endlessly fascinating.